Hey, Professor Alex here. Welcome to the classroom. So, I was sitting at home the other day and I was thinking, I really like this artist, Jerky. Printed this card. He's really cute, right? And I asked myself, could I build a deck with just one artist? Maybe. So, let's take a look what I came up with here. Starting it off, we got, of course, star of the show, Colpin. This guy's pretty broken, right? One dark energy, he does rule, right? 10 damage, pretty broken attack. 2 dark and a colorless, 30 damage. Now think about that for a second. And it's poisoned. You do that against a Ralt, that does 60 damage, times 2. Poison, 10 damage, 70. That knocks out Ralt. They don't even get Fez draws. Maybe there's something here. Next. I guess you could say these are the bad cards. This guy is broken. These guys, we got 4 Dreepies. These guys are cool. Petty Grudge, 10 damage. That's like, cool. Bite, 40. But it's Dragon. It doesn't hit anything for super effective, so whatever. Next, we got 4 Dracloaks. Recon Directive, just really broken ability. Dragon Headbutt, not really worth talking about. We got 2 Dragabolts. So, we had this Dragabolt for a while, from Prismatic Evolutions, I believe. Finally, in Ascended Heroes, we got this 3P and Dracloak. So maybe an old Jerky deck could work. We got 2 Pidgey. These are pretty straightforward. Pidgey into Pidgeot. Search your deck for any card once per turn. Soft or hard once per turn. So even if you set up multiple, you can only use them once. They help out the deck, right? We're really lacking really good options for this deck, so Pidgeot just makes sense. Now, we can't play Badoo in this deck because Badoo is not a Jerkymon. But what is a Jerkymon is Shuppet. Shout out to Azul GG for signing this card at Toronto Regionals. Very cool. So if you don't know what this card does, for 1 psychic energy, it does 10 damage, and then you flip a coin. If it's heads, your opponent can't play items on their next turn. So it's essentially Badoo on a coin flip. It's not ideal, but we don't have great options in this deck, so that's fine. Of course, Tatsugiri, of course, also drawn by Jerky. So as you can see, all these Pokemon are Jerky. And of course, star of the show, of course, is Gulpin here. Next, I want to talk about the energy because I feel like it kind of leads into the deck. 2 psychic energy fits well with Shuppet. 1 fire energy helps attack with Dragapult, I suppose. That's cool. 1 dark energy. You don't want to break too much on these, so just 1 is fine. It lets you attack with Gulpin, of course. So you can go to attack with the Gulpin. You can go dark energy, and then that would fill the dark in the attack cost, and then you can either put one of the psychics or a fire, or of course you can put a new Whopper energy. Actually, no, you can't, because it would cancel out the abilities. So it would have to be luminous, dark, and then one of these 3 for the attack cost. So I feel like the energy lineup is pretty straightforward. I kind of explain a little bit about the 4 luminous energies. So usually Dragapult decks only play 3 luminous energy. I decided to go with 4 because you are trying to go in early with Shuppet, and it is more psychic energy. So I felt like only having 5 essentially psychic energy to attack with Shuppet. You need an extra energy, right? Because of course in normal Dragapult decks, Badoo would attack for no energy. Sometimes it is awkward to get this guy into the active spot to turn 1. Turn 1 going second, but we have some other cards in the deck to help us with that. Because you can't attach an energy and then attach to the Shuppet to attack, so. Next, of course, really broken card for Pokepad. Searches everything. It searches Gulpin, it searches Shuppet, gets Dracloak. It just gets so much. It doesn't get... The only thing it doesn't get is the Dragapults and the Pidgeot. Pidgeot has been pretty good in this deck. I can't complain. Only 3 Buddy Poffin. You would like the 4th, but I felt like it's just like... It's not that powerful of a card when you have 4 Pokepads. 4 Pokepad feels way stronger than... Or the 4th Buddy Poffin feels way weaker than the 4th Pokepad. So I decided to go with these ratios. Haven't really missed the 4th Buddy Poffin. You don't usually whiff it. 3 Night Stretchers. So this is the debate that Dragapult players have is, do you play 3 Dragapult and only 2 Night Stretcher, or do you play 3 Night Stretcher but only 2 Dragapult? I just gotta go with 3 Night Stretchers because I only have 2 of these Dragapults. They're pretty expensive, but But if you did have a third Dragapult, I'm not sure if you would play it. It's pretty nice to have. It helps set up Candy Dragapult plays. Speaking of Candy, only playing 2 Candy, would like to play 4. This is mostly in here for the Pidgeot. Sometimes it's hard to find a turn where you have the full combo to go for the Candy Dragapult Neo Weapon Energy play. Hilda does help out with that because Hilda searches both the Dragapult plus the Neo Weapon Energy. Setting up Pidgeot early is sometimes difficult. Sometimes the Pidgey just sits there and then your opponent Badoos you just feels bad. So having the one of Pidgeotto helps a lot. Last item is the Counter Catcher. We can't play Fez in this deck, which really hurts the comeback potential of the deck. So having a Counter Catcher just makes sense. Next, the supporters. So the consistency supporters. For Lily's Determination, this deck just does not take prize cards, so it's basically a draw 8 every single time. Late game, you're usually not using Lily's because you have Dracloak set up. I decided to go for 3 Hildas. So this was a debate I had with my locals. Do you want to play 4 Hilda or 4 Luminous Energy? I decided to go for Luminous because, like I said, going for the early Enveloping Shadow, it's not a great attack, but sometimes you really struggle to find good attackers with this deck. So starting things off with the Shuppet helps a lot. I'm only playing 1 Dawn. This could be the 4th Hilda, but I really like the Dawn in these Pidgeot decks. It just helps you set up Pidgeot more consistently. If you go a Dawn plus Rare Candy, you can go Pidgey, Rare Candy, Pidgeot. Use this to also get a Dreepy plus a Dracloak. It just helps so much. Not having Fez obviously hurts Dawn, that's why it's only a 1 of, because the basic search late game is basically just, it's either the Gulpin or just another Shuppet, which you're probably not attacking with, so you can definitely see that. So next up are the Disruption supporters. We got 4 Iono, or 3 Iono, my bad, in this deck. Going to really miss this card. You don't take prize cards that aggressively with the deck, so playing 3 Iono, just heavy disruption, right? You can't play Fez, so the comeback cards are at minimal, so going for the heavy Ionos helps a lot. We got 2 Boss's Orders. With Boss plus Counter Catcher, I feel like that's way more than enough gust effects in the deck. And then finally, our stadiums. So next we have when Area 0. So the reason why this is in here is you don't have bench space for the Gulpin, I feel like, late game, because your bench usually looks like something like this. Double Dreepy, maybe 3 Dreepy, a Pidgeot. If your opponent knows what they're doing, they never knock this out because this guy is so bad. And then in the active spot, maybe a second Pidgey or Pidgeot. Your bench looks something like this, so having a Dragapult in play is of course a Terra Pokemon, so you can use this to expand the bench. Oh, and also you usually always have this guy in play. It usually looks something like this. I feel like this is your board most of the game. So of course having extra bench space of course means more bench space for more Dreepies, which become Dracloaks. But then as you can see, the problem is you don't have bench space for the Gulpin. So Areas helps out with that a lot. Whenever you put this Gulpin in play, your opponent, they just become so confused because they're like, what even is this deck? He's playing Shuppet instead of Badoo. He's playing Pidgeot, which seems kind of weird in Dragapult where you have already so much consistency. But the point of this deck isn't to win, it's just to make your opponent smile, which it always makes me happy seeing my opponent's reactions to seeing all of these weird cards inside a quote Dragapult deck, even though it's just a Jerky deck. The rest of the cards, we got 2 Town Store. So this is how you get into Shuppet consistently, is you go Town Store for one of the 2 air balloons. With Lily plus Town Store, I just kind of love this engine. You just see so many cards and you have so much access to air balloon. Finding Lilies very early is pretty important. And the last card, this could have been just another air balloon, but I decided to do something a little funny. I went with Lucky Helmet. If you don't know what this card does, if your opponent attacks, the Pokemon this card's attached to, you just draw 2 cards. Something that you have to watch out for is clutch strategies, Sudowoodo, Yveltal. If they clutch something, you're forced to draw 2 cards, so they could deck you out. So you have to be very careful with that. But like I said, the point of this deck really isn't to win, it's just to make your opponent smile and have a fun time. So that's basically the entire deck. I had a blast with this deck, but this deck loses so much to rotation that I don't know how I want to build this deck afterwards. It's definitely going to be sad taking this deck apart. It's definitely still going to be just a straight Dragapult deck. You would probably have to play double Tatsu. What's fun about this guy is it's a soft once per turn. So if you can get this guy active Vault multiple times, you can potentially search your deck for multiple supporters. You can only play 1 supporter per turn, so I don't know why you would want to do that. But extra deck thinning is always a good thing. Some of the other cards that Jerky has made is there's the Dynamo plus Dynamotor Electric. Those guys are pretty good. It doesn't really work in this deck, so I don't know how I'm going to build this deck after rotation, but I'm not going to be concerned with it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. Really enjoyed this deck. Stay tuned for more content to come out later from me. I go ahead and focus more on educational content, being a Pokemon professor and all. So I'll give little deck building videos, more deck profiles. I'll probably play some live gameplay, and hope you enjoyed the content. I hope you enjoyed the deck profile, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.